What I got for you today is an extremely high-level best-of-3 series in StarCraft 2. It's going to be a Zerg vs Protoss between two of the very best in their respective races. Game number 1 on Abyssal Reef Valley, and in the northwest location we have none other than playing for Team Splice. He goes by the nickname of Solar, and in the cross position we have his opponent playing with the red Protoss pieces. He goes by the nickname of Hero, and he plays for Root Gaming. Now, both of these players are so very good at StarCraft 2. It's hard to describe that just in words, so what I'll try and do instead is name you their achievements over the course of the last couple of years. Now, really, just a few days ago, Hero ended up winning the GSL Super Tournament, an extremely stacked tournament, and he ended up becoming the victor right there. But over the course of his career, he also ended up winning an SSL, a Kespa Cup, 3 Intel Extreme Masters, and countless more smaller tournaments as well as a lot of online cups. Roughly in prize money alone, he won 180,000 American dollars, and of course, with his recent results, that actually makes him the rank 1 Protoss in the world right now. Right as of me making this video right now, he's the #1 Protoss in the world. Now, of course, there are quite a couple of great Protoss players. In particular, Stats comes to mind. I mean, Stats is recently off of a GSL Code S victory, which is definitely making him one of the top level contenders, but Hero, most definitely a force to be reckoned with. Now, Solar, on the other hand, I mean, I've made many videos on Solar before. You guys all know that I absolutely adore watching this guy play. He's won roughly $200,000 in prize money, a little bit over that. He's currently, as of me making this video, the rank 2 Zerg in the world. He won an SSL, 3 DreamHacks, and MSI tournaments, and this guy in particular loves participating in online tournaments. I mean, apparently he recently won the Taco Cup. I've never heard of that before. I have no idea what that is all about. But basically what I'm trying to tell you is that both of these guys are absolutely incredible. Now, indeed, this is going to be a best-of-3 series, meaning that in this one video, I'm not just going to be casting this game right here, but, maybe even up to 3. I guess it kind of depends on how game 1 and 2 turn out to be. But regardless, we should be in for a treat. Hero looks like he's opened up right here very greedily with a Nexus on the low ground. Very, very greedy play. But of course, these players will be facing off against each other very, very regularly. First set of Zerglings are going to be out. I think they're going to be needed right here at the third base, because the cheeky little probe is trying to block this drone from creating the expansion. And I think that very shortly, yeah, these Zerglings, well, they actually decided to turn around for just a split second. I guess he's just adding on some additional Zerglings right now instead. And I guess Solar is just trying to out-micro him. Regardless, this third base should be going up here in just a second. There we go. And indeed, it looks like we are setting up here for a macro game. Now, generally speaking, indeed, it does come down to what the Protoss wants to do. Protoss is all about trying to slow down the Zerg player, okay? This Stargate is indeed meant to do exactly that. We see it go down here at the front, so there's really no reason here for Hero apparently to be hiding it. That is not part of his strategy. Instead, he's just simply showing it right here to Solar, knowing that Solar will more than likely be able to get a scout off anyway. Although, nice little block there with the Stalker. Will be able to pick up these 2 Zerglings, but they already did their jobs. They scouted exactly what the Protoss player was going for, and therefore, Zerg is gonna try and respond accordingly here. Looks like actually, ooh, Hero, wow, going for a super early third base expansion. I love this. A lot of these players, right, since they are at such a high level of play, they will be facing off against each other, and this should not work. However, Solar, known to drone up really greedily in these kind of scenarios, is doing exactly that. Solar is the kind of player that will get all of the drones he can get away with, after which he gets super aggressive. Right now, he will be able to scout out that this third base is already underway, but does he really want to commit to countering this right now? This is a super early third base, right? And I already wonder if there's going to be anything that he can really do. Look at that. We also see that Oracle coming out. And indeed, Solar apparently is just going to let this be in the way it is right now. Very, very cool opener there by Hero. It will give him an enormous amount of economy, really. And you got to keep in mind, right? If he really wanted to go ahead and counter this Nexus here on the low ground, he would have to commit so many early game resources into it, which would just simply put him at a disadvantage if he were not able to counter that third base. So I really, really do like that play here by Hero, playing to the opponents rather than playing to the matchup, so to say, which is really nice. Hero will be able to get himself a lot of workers out for this very reason, still chrono boosting out more and more workers, and he even has decided that he's not gonna saturate the gases just yet, getting himself a slight bit of additional income here for a little while longer on these mineral patches, just so he can squeeze out a lot more workers than he might have otherwise been able to. The two Oracles trying desperately to harass, of course. Solar, the player that he is, I mean, he's gonna be spot on here in the defenses. He's already adding on the Roach Warren right now too, and he's got that Evolution Chamber done, so very shortly he will more than likely start upgrading here some as well. Apparently, the Oracles now mostly used here to try and deny some of the creep spread. Pretty nice here, but there are some additional queens here ready to deal with, you know, that shenanigans. And apparently, at the same time, a couple of the Adepts have made their way across the map, and they're trying to pick up a worker or two here. Ooh. Nice little move there actually by Hero, trying to attack at different angles here at once, putting down these stasis wards to try and deny the mining time, which is like, it's sort of like a new school kind of thing. This has only been happening over the last few weeks. Not really a whole lot of Protoss players that have been doing this, but so far in this game, I mean, this is looking absolutely incredible here for the Protoss player in red. He's got himself a lot of economy, but more importantly, he's keeping the Zerg player at bay while building up a force, and you can see that, right? Third base is already done at the 6-minute mark. It's fully saturated, which is really impressive, and so far he is most definitely at an advantage. I mean, it's 44 versus 63 workers. Now here's the question though, did he not simply commit a little too much to all of this aggression? Look at the amount of stuff here that Solar has made. He's only on 44 workers, so he is looking to do damage. But of course, with all of this early game greed here from Hero, I wonder if there are going to be enough units here to defend against all of these units. Even the Queens are brought across the map here, and they're actually targeting firing down that Mothership Core. That's a big deal. The Mothership Core ends up falling, and with that sloppy move, all of a sudden, Hero's third base is gonna be in a lot of pressure. Queens, of course, have got a lot of sustain. They're gonna be able to transfuse units here for a very long amount of time, but on top of that, they are very tanky units. They're gonna be capable of keeping all of these Zerg units alive for a very long amount, and losing that Mothership Core, I mean, if you're gonna be playing this defensively here, right, and you're gonna try and play such a greedy economy-based style, you cannot afford to lose any units there in the process, in particular not one that is as crucial right there as the Mothership Core. And while a second one came out there as well, Zerg is looking like it's cleaning up a lot of this aggression, morphing in more and more Ravager here as well, and you can see those Queens in the back, they're simply doing so much work. A second Immortal now also joining in the fight, but the first one still alive, already picked up 11 kills. Looks like it's gonna eventually end up falling here with the Zerglings trying to target fire it down, but 22 probes ended up falling here with a beautiful move out here by Solar. I actually was getting a little worried for him right there, because if he would have allowed the Protoss there to sit back for even like an additional 30 to 40 seconds, so many more Protoss units would join the battlefield, and with those corrosive vials, indeed, the damage is being dealt here. But still, really what happened so far though is the economy has mostly just been evened up, right? I mean, it's right now 53 versus 39 Harvesters, and indeed the Zerg player has started joining up once again, and I love this move. Solar not committing to this really that much just yet. He's just simply sitting back here. You know, he's recognized the damage that he's done, and he's gonna try and push the advantage right now. And the way you do so is by creating that economy advantage. And indeed, he immediately skyrocketed up to roughly 60 workers right there while leaving his opponent in the dust. Now, of course, Hero knows this very well as well, and he's gonna go and get aggressive here. Already do we once again see a lot of roaches here in production. Glial reconstitution being researched now as well, and the +1 missile upgrade now also being upgraded here, so these roaches are shortly going to be very powerful. However, Adepts are getting into the natural now of the Zerg player, and the counterattack is once again in full effect. Will Hero be able to do enough damage here to even up the score? Because actually a lot of these drones already end up falling. That target firing right there was absolutely brilliant. Adepts still doing a lot of work here. They're just simply dashing in between the bases, looking to see whatever damage they can do. And look at that target firing right there, right? 12 workers ended up falling there once again, already evening up the score once more. 45 versus 45 Harfresses right there. Economy's dead even at this point, but look at the amount of damage that's being done. Once again, another probe ends up falling, or another drone rather, and 15 workers here in total ended up paying for it with their lives. But I mean, while the worker count has been evened up, right, the supply count is not lying. 132 versus 63 supply. One Hero Immortal apparently trying to move across the map now as well. I guess this one was called outside of the natural. But right now, we got an army composition that is based around the Immortal and the Adept. And in particular, once this +1 attack upgrade finishes up, and apparently the aggression is not done just yet, but once this +1 missile upgrade finishes up, these roaches are going to be so much more powerful against all of this, you know, all of this ground-based force. And I guess right now, Zerg is just trying to scout out exactly what's going on. We do see an Overseer, we do see an Overseer rather soaring above that Protoss Protoss base. He's gonna try and see exactly what is going on. Natural being built, but no third base to be seen anywhere just yet. The Adepts being dropped off into the main now as well. They're once again gonna try and do as much damage here as they can. Of course, that Queen is gonna have to be very careful, and I think it will end up falling here. Or actually, no. He won't be able to get out of there, just barely. Very nice, cheeky move. But still, Hero is not done just yet. He's going for a last-ditch effort. No third base in production here just yet. He's gonna go ahead and build up that mothership core with some additional energy to defend at home. But the rest of this army is just simply gonna try and push into this newly acquired 4th base location, or maybe the 3rd here of the Zerg. More and more units are indeed being warped in, and I think this is a last-ditch effort. I don't think Hero can really follow this up with a whole lot else. We do see that Spire in production now as well, so once the Mutas come out, of course, this game is most definitely done. But with some really solid shading there, actually zoning the Zerg player, this could still happen with some really nice control here from Hero. But look at the amount of Zerg units though. I'm starting to wonder if there's just not simply a little bit too many Zerg units here to deal with all of this aggression. The Adepts shading into the natural while leaving the Immortals all alone. War Prison does end up getting corrosive biled down as well. And while the Adepts are desperately trying to do whatever damage they can, 7 Mutas are now on the production tab, and there are absolutely no units out right now for the Protoss player in red to shoot up. And indeed, Hero scouts the Spire, and in game number 1, he decides to GG out. Not gonna lie, I love games like the one that we just saw on Abyssal Reef Alley. I mean, that was more or less like both of these players playing the opponent rather than playing the map or the matchup, you know? I mean, if you are a Protoss player, right, and you are playing on the ladder, no way you can get away with, like, what was it, like a 3.5 minute third Nexus on the low ground on Abyssal Reef LE? That was most definitely Hero playing his specific opponent. I love play like that. Anyway, Hero also, of course, ended up losing that game after Solar recognized exactly what was going on, even pushing the Queens across the map. And I actually think that they were the heroes in that battle because they shut down the Mothership Core. But regardless, apparently Hero not faced from game number 1. He's building up himself a proxy pylon here really early on into this game. And apparently, indeed, Solar once again goes for that hatchery here on the low ground at 16 supplies. So actually not that greedy of an expansion here by Solar. He's gonna be capable of defending against this reasonably well, but it's gonna come down to the control of both of these players. Hero already putting down, and actually apparently that one was slightly misplaced, already putting down 3 gateways right now on the other end of the map, and this is what makes Hero such a great player, okay? He's one of the very best, if not the best, macro Protoss in the world, but this is what makes him a tournament victor. This is what makes him win tournaments left and right. This guy is not scared of cheesing as well, even when he is 1-0 behind. Absolutely brilliant. Putting down the 3 gateways, looking to get really aggressive here as well, and he's actually following this up right now with an assimilator in the main base too. I think he's gonna saturate that very shortly with 1 or 2 workers there. Very, very nice. Done. That's actually really nice because he's going to be able to follow this up right now with Adepts as well. Probably will be capable of getting around 2 rounds of Zealots here and then follow it up with Adepts. So this is most definitely an all-in here by Hero, but he may very well be able to do damage because Solar once again went for the hatch, into the gas geyser, into the spawning pool as well. This will allow him to get really early Zergling speed, and one thing to keep in mind now as well is that, of course, he will be able to run into his opponent's main base rather easily because there will not be a wall off here at the top of the ramp. Regardless, this will all come down to control. How good will both of these players be? Nice little bit of shuffling right there actually with the chrono boost, so 3 Zealots can go in around the same time. 3 more are being followed up right now here as well. And how quickly will Solar respond? He's got 6 Zerglings done, and already we see that immediately spine crawler, or that immediate spine crawler right there in the middle of the mineral line. Apparently the drone's getting a little bit ballsy there. One of them will end up paying for that with its life, but the drones will have to defend against this early game pressure here. They will have to try and keep this spine crawler alive here. Nice little bit of dodging. So far, perfect control there on the drones, trying to mineral walk those to get the Zealots to back off for the time being. And as soon as that spine crawler finishes up, this is going to be just fine. Second Queen now also, of course, done already. The first set of Zerglings actually running across the map now as well. They're going to be able to do some work. Apparently the Queen trying to play ring around the Rosie here, trying to make sure that she's going to be able to stay alive for as long as possible. But at the same time, the Zerglings have now also closed in on that pylon. They're going to be able to get it. 3 Adepts just about to finish up here as well. But I wonder, is this not going to be a bit too much of a committal here here for Solar. Well, he shuts down the aggression for now, and the hatchery will most definitely end up falling here as well. Metabolic boost is about to finish up, but so many units are still going to be inside of that main base. Solar is going to try and defend against these zealots here with all of his might. He's building up as much as he possibly can, but at the same time, the Zerglings are moving across. Hatchery on the low ground does end up falling, but a lot of these probes might be in some trouble here. Gateway now also being produced once again in the main base. One probe immediately ends up falling here. Nice probe micro there. Once again, using that mineral walk for full effect. At the same time, Zealots trying to do whatever damage they can, but apparently half of them got surrounded. The shovel there as well by the drones, pushing the queens to the back. That was brilliant control by Solar. That is such a difficult move to do. And apparently, Solar somehow, some way, ended up coming out ahead there absolutely brilliantly. Only a few workers remained, but still, Hero, even though he was definitely sacrificing the Zealots there on the other end of the map, just because Solar controlled that absolutely brilliantly, he still shoveled around these probes in his mineral line 2, or in his mineral line 2 rather, and he's still got 18 or 19 remaining even right now, and he even came out slightly ahead there. I don't even know how that was possible. I was looking at that engagement and I was almost convinced that that wasn't going to be possible, but still, supply-wise, Solar has got a significant advantage. On top of that, he's got a lot of additional probes now as well, or a lot of additional Zerglings now as well, and he's going to be capable of doing quite a bit of work. On top of that, Solar is now also scouting out exactly what's going on, and he will be able to see exactly what this building is right now, and he will figure out that this is indeed a Twilight Council. Now, very shortly, I think we're going to be able to see that adept research here as well, because I think that Hero may be looking to follow this up, there we go, with a 1 base all-in. Now, he may be trying to get a 3rd base here, or a natural rather, regardless, but of course, there is already such a big amount of Zerglings now ready to defend against this, that this may turn out to not be much of an issue. Lair going up right now as well, and actually, ooh, I like this one a lot. He cancels, after letting his opponent scout, right? He cancels the upgrade there for the Adepts, and instead, he goes for the Dark Shrine. Such trickery here so far, but apparently, Solar has played against this before. He's gonna be capable of getting himself a Lair now as well, and with that, of course, he will open up the potential for Overseers here too. Brilliant player though, I'm really impressed by both of these players. I mean, the super quick response right there by Solar building up that Spine Crawler turned out to be the correct one, and then that Queen Shovel right there, that was such a cool move. Regardless, we may very well be in for somewhat of a macro game right now as well. I mean, Solar most definitely is looking more solid here, 35 versus 24 workers, but, you know, Protoss has got himself a natural now as well. Mothership Core is at a solid amount of energy, Photon Overcharges will be available, and the Dark Shrine may be able to do some work right now as well. Solar will be capable of getting himself the Evo Chamber, a couple of Roaches now as well, and the immediate Overseer. He's gonna be capable of scouting out what's across the map here, and of course that will allow him to figure out that the Dark Shrine is available, but already it's being warped in right now as well. This is of course something that we have to keep in mind, because this is not actually going to be very close to the Zerg player. Instead, it's being warped in here with one cheeky pylon in the northern end of the main base, so it can sneak out quite easily without any of the buildings forced to be proxied. Now, of course, the Sentry as well as the Stalker here are trying to zone out against the Overseer, and so far, they've done a very good job, but apparently, Solar is already sniffing out some of this aggression. At the same time, Hero knows very well that Solar is going to be capable of defending against it. He scouts out that 3rd hatchery, and immediately, he decides to move into the 3rd, or into the natural, but look at that! Look at that timing! Brilliant play there by Solar. Absolutely spot on defense. Not taking any damage here. I mean, it doesn't really get much better than that control right there. I mean, in both of these games, sure, he did take a lot of damage there from Adepts in game number 1, and it wasn't absolutely spot on right there. But game number 2, I mean, that was brilliant. That was absolutely brilliant. Beautiful play right there by Solar. I mean, if this doesn't show you why I'm such a fanboy of the guy, I don't know what does. I mean, that was absolutely brilliant. Shutting that down with ease. At the same time, though, Hero, I mean, I love the balls that the guy has. I mean, you're 1-0 behind, and you don't really care about it. Even though you're probably the strongest macro pros in the world, you're just gonna put down 3 gateways on the other end of the map, and you play something a lot more cheesy. Because when you think about it, right, if you would have won this game with the 3-gate aggression right from the get-go, game number 3 would have been, like, much easier. I mean, Solar would have most definitely been at a bit of a mental block, right? He would have been asking himself, hey, is there once again going to be cheese on the way? And I mean, it's such a smart move, but such a difficult one to make in a tournament setting. Regardless, I hope you enjoyed watching this game, or these games right here. If you did, make sure you hit that like button down below. And if you want to see more, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well, so you get a notification as soon as I upload more. While you're at it, you can also follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Links are in the description. I want to thank you for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile, alright? And I will see you in the next one.